Undeterred about the conflict in Iran. Now, I understand. It puts a stall in the market. It absolutely does when we hear war. It's just, it is what it is, right? Is it a good thing or bad thing? I'm not here to judge that. I'm not here to debate or discuss any political points of view of what's going on. This is a purely economic one. Let's talk about this. Iran conflict stalls big purchases like homes and cars for 1 in 4 Americans, but most are undeterred. Now let's talk about why. There's always going to be a fear in the market, enough to put a hiccup in the market. 25%. That's a pretty huge ding in the market, especially when we're talking about hundreds of homes in one specific area like the county of Santa Clara or nationwide. Why? Fear. Fear drives everything. It drives the stock market. It drives your insurance purchases. It drives everything. Fear. Fear of missing out, fear of loss, fear of everything. That's why we have insurance, right? It's totally, absolutely normal to feel this. If you think about it, a hiccup like this is a great time to take advantage of the market. Last couple of weeks, we saw the market kind of slow down just because of what's going on and outside of the world. It just is what it is, right? House Hunter is pausing plans due to uneasiness about tensions in the Middle East. Here's what's really bothering Americans: the tariffs and the fear of job loss. And it says it's somewhere around here. I read it here. But if you want to look at this article, the link is in my blog. All right. California has 15 of the 25 priciest places to live in the United States. It's crazy, right? I clicked on this and we're going to go into it a bit. But it's not a surprise, rather a stark reminder that the state's biggest economic challenge is the cost of living. Everything is expensive. Insurance, a lot of places in California, you can't afford the insurance because you have to have the California FAIR plan, which is the fire plan. Cost of gas is more expensive. Cost of your living is more expensive. It's the most expensive taxed state in the union, right? But still, people still want to live here. We're going to see things change, abundantly change, right? California, by far, next to Hawaii, is one of the most expensive price parities compared to Tennessee and Nevada and the Carolinas, Arkansas, Mississippi. Who wants to live there? I get it. I understand. Mississippi is a fun place to live or visit, but would you really, what economic value do I perceive to live there? Or am I just going to live there poorly? So maybe somewhere in the middle, like Ohio or Indiana, Tennessee. A lot of people are moving to Tennessee because it's there's no income tax. My parents lived there for 7 years, and then I moved them to Nevada next to my sister because my sister's there full time because they're aging. I want to make sure that they're taken care of. So just something to take note is California's got weather, but they also have everything else that costs more, a lot more. Like I think last time I was in Nevada, I paid around $3 a gallon for gas, and here I'm paying close to $5. Talking about moving parents into adult care situations, we have our parents in an adult 55 and over community, and the reason why we put them there is so that they can be communal. They're still semi-active. We need to get them more active, right? So we got them a golf cart so they can go to the clubhouse. We call it the country club, but it's really a clubhouse. And they can have dinner there with their friends, meet friends, and play mahjong and bingo or whatever. And it allows them to do that. We moved them. We relied heavily on the real estate agent in Tennessee to take care of that. A lot of the heavy moving, a lot of the heavy lifting. And that's what we do here in California for you. If you need to move your parents into an adult community or a memory care facility or anything in between, let me know because I can help guide you with that. Here's my listing. We talked about it all last week. It's gotten crazy amount of views, like almost 40,000 views. It looks like we have an offer coming in. So I wanted to go here and talk about the marketing that we do. Obviously, I have my Drive folder and then analytics and then the CMA, which is a comparative market analysis. But I also have a video tour, which you can look at right here if you want to do that. Not going to make you run through that. The link is in the blog below. And the link is on the listing as well. That's the drone. And then we have the 360, the Matterport. That takes a bit to load. You get the whole Matterport thing, right? And then you have your website. And then obviously you have access to all the photos right here. And then disclosures, etc. Why is this important? Well, this is how I walk you through the entire process of selling your house, from timeline to the facing sheet to the marketing to contract dates. Once we get in a contract, that helps understand it, and then you do the net sheets and follow up, etc. If you have an offer sheet, we have multiple offers, that kind of thing. So I walk you through it so that you understand what we're doing, as well as getting your house ready to sell, that kind of stuff. But I did want to mention something here. If the price list is above market value, you're only reaching 5% of the market. If you're a $20 million mansion, you want to be a market maker. If you're a standard run-of-the-mill developed house, right? You're a standard house, you're not going to be a market maker. You need to attract the market. So you want to be 5% below what you think your house is going to sell. And 99% of the times that houses don't sell is seller ego. You think your house is worth much more, and then your house doesn't sell. So when you list the price way too high, you're not attracting the right people. You want to attract as much as the market as you can and let them decide what your house is worth. And I understand this happens to me all the time. Right? I'm putting another house back on market because they had fear. They were like, my house is worth $50,000 more. Okay, we can do that. But then when we dropped it, the listing dried up. So we had to wait 30 days for the days on market to reset and refresh the market. So now we're going to get it back on market today, and then we're off and running. So the more eyes you get on your listing, i.e. the more market share, the market that you can attract, the more eyeballs you can get, the better. Because the more eyeballs you can get, the more showings you'll receive, the more disclosure downloads you'll get, more offers you'll get, right? The house that we have here is listed right at the top of the market, like right here. So we're only attracting 5% of the market. Unfortunately, that's just the way the sellers decided. Remember, I always tell you about having air conditioning. It's not an option anymore. It's a requirement. If you can't have your house with air conditioning, your house is going to sit by the wayside. If your house is not updated, your house continues to go lower and lower and lower, because people see not your house and everything else in that 1 mile radius. They see everything in that county that they're looking at, or 5 or 6 different areas that they're looking at. And they're going to make their buy based on what makes them feel the best. And if your house doesn't look the best, doesn't smell the best, doesn't feel the best, they're going to move on and get something else at that same price range. And it could be 5 zip codes away from here, from your house, because they don't really care until they set up roots. Once you set up roots, like I live in Blossom Valley and I love it and it's great. I have roots here. I've raised my kids here. I've taught my kids how to live in the nature over here, and I have friends and family here, right? So my roots are here. But if you're looking to buy and you're starting a family, it doesn't really matter where you live until you sit there. And then you decide, yes, this is the place I want to raise my kids. And then you spend 20 years there, because 99% of the houses that don't are due to high prices. Let's get into that real quick right here. This is important right here. Back on market, withdrawn, back on market, withdrawn, expired, canceled. Houses that don't sell, they cancel out. Typically 60, 90, 120 days. Some agents like to do 6 months. I'd rather keep it around 3 months, because if your house isn't going to sell in 3 months, it's not the agent. My process works, right? It's the price. Just keep that in mind, okay? We have plenty of houses to sell. A lot of them are selling. Where Santa Clara County is the highest volume and highest revenue-wise and units. Your houses will sell if you price it correctly. All this other stuff that is combined inside there doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Let's really quickly talk about the houses of the week. Cupertino house of the week is out, and this is a brand new, it looks like it's brand new. Maybe it's built. Looks like this is a rendering though. So yeah, this is a rendering. We're not going to go do this one. We're going to do this one. Okay, this is Stern Ave. I know Stern. Yeah, I sold a house on here many years ago. Not when it was $3.6 million, probably closer to 1.5. It is about the median price in Santa Clara County right now. 5-bedroom, 4-bath, built in 2005. Nothing great about it. Nothing fantastic about it. Why is it $4 million? Because it's close to Apple. Apple's right there. But the reason why houses are so expensive here is because it's an easy walk, an easy drive to your Apple campus if you work for Apple. And you're not going to live in Cupertino unless you live there, or you have another company that Apple. Here you go. Let's see. I want to see this one right here. So 2-bedroom, 2-bath. No, we already looked at that one. Oh, list price decrease. I think we talked about this one already. $1.175 million for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square foot home. Here's the problem, guys. This one looks like it's right on the corner of Lincoln. Yeah, it's on a busy street. Oh no. Well, that's what you're facing right there is a junkyard. Look at that, a parking lot. I don't know. Why is this house not selling? It's been on market 44 days. Original list price is $1.3 million. If everything was said and done, maybe this house was right. It's a very small lot though. This house isn't going to sell for that because look, even if you're going to put a McMansion on it, your surrounding area is so small that it just doesn't make sense to spend $1 million on 3,000 square feet because that's really what you're buying. You're taking this house, you tear it down and put a McMansion on it. I wouldn't spend $1 million on it, especially because I would really need the lot next door to make it viable. The standard lot is about 6,000 to 8,000 square feet. So we're roughly talking about a half the size. So there you go. Luxury house of the week, brand new in Atherton, $32 million. Love how they round it down by $5,000 because that's going to matter. 6 bedrooms, 7 and 2.5 baths, 11,000 square feet on an acre lot. 43560 is an acre, so it's just under an acre, Scotia, and it's right here in Atherton, right there. Beautiful castle-like mansion. Yep. If you want to see it, you have to go to their website. Let's talk about the pacing. Okay. The last few years, we ended up around 7,000 to 8,000 homes sold every year. On pace, we're at half that or 2/3 of that. We need to sell more homes. Right now, it's early on in the year. We're just getting into the market. We're the first month of the selling season, right? So that's all going to change. But we need to see more houses. We need to see more inventory. We need to see more traffic out there. And a lot of people are holding off. I thought we were going to have a whiz bang of a month, but we're not really. It's kind of slowing things down, mostly because of the fear of the war, but it's also the fear of the economy, etc. And I'm not going to not deny that, right? Santa Clara, we're at 1,100 sales so far this year, and we're at 2.6 billion. San Mateo is 1.4, and they've only sold half of that. So if you think about it, it's way more expensive, right? $2.4 million is average price home in Santa Clara County. It's crazy. It's $2 million, 2.1 in San Mateo to $2 million is a median priced home in Santa Clara County. And we're still selling homes for about 5% over list price on average, if it's priced right. And so far we have 2,500. We need far more than that, right? We have 1,100 active homes for sale in Santa Clara County. We need to be about 2,000. I talk about this all the time, right? We need to be about 2,000 homes for sale. And we're nowhere near that. So are we on parity? Yeah, I think we're about balanced right now for the amount of buyers that are out there. They're being picky. They're being persnickety. They're waiting for the house to sit. If the house goes, then that's fine because there's others, right? They're getting the mindset right, saying, I'm not going to